Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the paladinolive network. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all the other favorite podcasting apps you can imagine out there. It is, well, I really appreciate you for downloading and listening to the show. It's a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As well, yeah, I think a lot of you know what's going on here. Kind of a cloudy, rainy day in the morning, a little bit of sun poking through. I guess that's just the thought that the Wolves are still alive. I mean, 2-1 doesn't mean you're out, but after the performance the last couple games, and especially yesterday, blowing multiple 20-point leads at home in front of a very, 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 very full house of fans that did a great job throughout the entire game. The whole quiet-ass fans argument can go right out the window where it belongs, because this team did the fans didn't let the team down. The team let themselves down in the biggest way. Timberwolves trailed the series after 3 games, 2 games to 1.
Here we go. Come on!
And what more is there to say? Quite a bit, and we're going to get to that right now. D'Angelo Russell came into this series into Game 1. Game 2 didn't do jack squat. Finally did something in Game 3. Anthony Edwards looked the part most of the way through these games. But then there's one guy who has pretty much been a disappointment the entire time, and I'm not even sure where to go with him anymore. And you're hearing Phil Mackey locally say basically he doesn't even want him on the team anymore. I can't argue with that. And what I'd like to know is, where are all of you? Where are all of you that are honest about this team? I swear, because I always see the numbers drop off, and I see people unfollow and this and that whenever I have the gall to say Karl Anthony Towns really isn't the guy. Where are all of you that agree? Because tons of you agree. You listen to these vent lines and this line and that line out there that people agree, and other shows agree that Karl Anthony Towns really isn't a franchise player because he doesn't have the mental fortitude to carry a team. He looked embarrassing out there, especially yesterday in the 26-point debacle. It looked like everything I've been frustrated with him all kind of paired into one. And it's too bad, because I came into this feeling so good. The Timberwolves played so well in the first game. We'll go back to that one right now really quick before we pile on Game 3. Timberwolves, of course, won Game 1 on the 16th, Saturday afternoon instead of evening, which is annoying. I like evening better because I want to be outside in the day, damn it. I don't want to be indoors. Sorry, I just don't. And, well, I watched it outside. Yeah, thankfully. Thank God for modern technology. It's one of the few good things about anything modern. Everything else sucks about modern. Karl Anthony Towns did play well in this game. 29-13. D'Angelo Russell no-showed. He played like crap. He did have 9 assists, but he shot terribly. And this and that and this and that. This, that, and that. Anthony Edwards absolutely showed up for the big moment, the bright, shining moment, or whatever you want to call it. Malik Beasley did as well with 23 off the bench. Jaden McDaniels has been wonderful in this series, generally speaking. The numbers aren't always there, but the guy shows up to play. You can just tell there's something there with Jaden McDaniels, and he's going to be a household name for NBA fans. You hear about the Robert Ory's, you hear about, this guy, you hear about that guy historically, where it's not like the star player of the team, but one of those valuable guys, those valuable pieces, the Michael Coopers, the AC Greens, the, John Paxsons, guys like that you hear about for years and years and years, and you talk about all these years later, Vinnie Johnson, people like that people have talked about forever. I'm blanking on some of the names out there, but Jaden McDaniels is going to be one of those guys for many years, I think. You're going to hear his name for many years on a national basis, not because he's like this legend and the superstar, but because he's such a valuable piece to a team, and he certainly showed that in game number 1. Anthony Edwards is going to be an absolute household name in every NBA fan's house. He has to be. There's no question about it. I was talking about Anthony Edwards as, bringing me back to the good old days, like the 80s and early 90s. The 80s and early 90s, you notice that, like the Dominique Wilkins type names, those kind of players, and those are the kind of guys I miss the most when I watch the NBA today. Obviously, Michael Jordan, how can you not miss Michael Jordan? Even though he might have had way too much publicity at the time, he's been so far removed now, of course you miss him. And that's why, the Last Dance was so nice to see. And then you got to see a lot of those classic players again, especially when you go back in time, like Bulls and Hawks and Celtics and Hawks and, oh my gosh, and then Pistons and Celtics and Bulls and Pistons and Hawks. And, you could just go on all day. A lot of those Eastern Conference teams in the 80s and early 90s. And, of course, the LA Lakers and the Mavericks when they were, that was the original good Mavericks team. Guys like that. And that's where Anthony Edwards brings me back to, is players like that. Jared Vanderbilt kind of does that as well at times. My biggest complaint about Jared Vanderbilt, every couple of seconds he's on the ground writhing in pain about this and writhing in pain about that. It gets a little tiring after a while, and that's what bugs me. To be fair, again, Karl Anthony Towns had a wonderful, wonderful Game 1. He played wonderfully in Game 1, except for the 3 turnovers. Fine. He stayed stoic. He stayed out of foul trouble. It was the Karl Anthony Towns we were begging for in the Clipper game and in many other playoff-type games in the past, and just generally speaking, if he could just kind of show up and play better. And then the LA Clippers, Karl Anthony Towns returned in a big way in Game 2 and game number 3 especially. It was like, what the hell is this? What is this? Seriously, what's going on? This is bullshit, to pardon my French. It really was. A lot of us were happy that the Wolves had kept Malik Beasley, of course, such a factor off the bench, hitting those shots. He's one of those guys, you don't get a feeling like he's going to, you don't have to overly count on him, but you also don't have to get the feeling like he's going to wet the bed necessarily either, even though he's not perfect. He's going to miss shots. But that's the whole point. You don't count on him to be the top dog out there. These games tell me more and more, despite the fact that he's only 20 years old, that Anthony Edwards has to be the guy leading this team in the long-term future. The current future is kind of what it is. It's up in the air. Like, it's kind of like, okay, hopefully, let's see who's going to take the lead tonight. Okay, Patrick Beverley, thanks for the veteran leadership, but who's going to be like the star player tonight? Is it going to be Russell? Is he going to get hot? 2 of 11, no. Anthony Edwards, yeah, apparently he did. 12 of 23. It's not even the field goal attempts. It's the it factor that he showed up and, he got to the free throw line and made all of his free throws, unlike number 22 of the Golden State Warriors and former Timberwolf, who always would miss those free throws or make okay, I'm sorry, he'd make 60% of them. Oh, sorry, he didn't miss all of them, but he missed more than he should. Drove me nuts. But again, this is what I wanted to focus on so badly today, especially with how things went in games in game number 1 and how it looked like it was heading in game number 3. And then the Wolves just stopped making shots, completely stopped. And you had 2 quarters where he scored 12 points. And it's just, how does this even happen? How? You figured, okay, let's just flush out game number 2. Memphis was like, hey, we're still here. Don't you dare try to, think you're going to just sweep us right out of here. You are not even, you're not on our level. We're the number 2 seed. You're number 7 for a reason. We're number 1. We're the number 2 seed, and we're actually going to threaten the Phoenix Suns. So bleep off, Timberwolves. 124-96. Take that. And I was hoping and praying we could just kind of flush that one out, and the Wolves beat Memphis nicely again in game number 3, and then hope for the best from here on. But it is going to be a reciprocal of the 2 Lakers series, where the Wolves took a 2-game-to-1 lead and saw it completely evaporate, getting crushed 3 games in a row. Maybe not completely crushed, but losing all 3 of them. Getting crushed in 2 of them and having a close, furious rally type of game in the finale, and wind up coming up short. Classic Minnesota phrase, we just came up short. The same tired horse crap. Well, Karl got 11 rebounds in game 2, and he attempted 7 shots and had 5 personal fouls. That sounds familiar. 5 personal fouls, 5 personal fouls, 5 personal fouls, 5 personal... Do you understand what's happening here? It's a broken record player. And look how many 3-pointers he attempted. Una. That's 1, okay? Yeah, I think you know that. Anthony Edwards showed up to play for the most part. He didn't shoot as well. He turned the ball over. Even he got in a little bit of foul trouble. But the whole team kind of stunk in that game. Jane McDaniels couldn't make anything. 0 for 4 from downtown. Jalen Noel got to play, but he wasn't all that great. He missed all 5 of his threes. I want Jalen Noel in there. And he's the guy I kept thinking of. He's the guy that teams would want, like if he gets included in a trade, and it's because they want him, not because he's just included in the trade. Like, oh, sure, okay, here's a little extra chip on the table. Here you go, Jalen Noel. Because, oh yeah, Jalen Noel, hell yes. That's if he got traded or a team were traded for him, this and that. That the other team would actually want him. And that's the whole point. That I kept seeing Jalen Noel as this kind of semi-household name. Another one of those valuable pieces you talk about for years in the future. Like I already mentioned all the other examples out there. And there's many, 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 many more that I'm blanking on at the moment because I'm more kind of locked into this. Unfortunately, my old school records are kind of clouded at the moment because of what's currently happening in the stupid game yesterday. Game 2 was a stupid game as well. There was just nothing fun about it other than, oh, wait, the Wolves didn't make 12 three-pointers either. So no beef and cheddars for you. Yeah, that's right. Well, we're going to get one now. So enjoy your beef and cheddar on Friday night, I guess, or Friday evening or Friday lunch. So Wolves did get that. At least you get a free beef and cheddar now. Come on now. At least you can get that out of there. Patrick Beverley getting a technical foul in game 2. I don't know. I'd like to see Greg Monroe play a little bit. I think that'd be nice. I know I'm all over the place. But how could I not be all over the place? Because this team is all over the place. You're up by 20. It's tied. You're up by 20 again. It's tied again. And then you're down by 15. What the hell is going on here? What's going on? It's just like the movies. Like, what the hell's wrong with this war here? Lines like that. What is going on, guys? I don't know what's going on. You're kicking ass. You're getting your ass handed to you. And then Karl Anthony Towns is on the floor, throwing his arms up like he'd been, I don't even want to go there. It's just psychotic. It's a mental. I don't even know the words. I'm losing it. I'm losing it because of you, Karl. Thank you very much. I'm starting to get it's starting to rub off on me. Plus the fact I was up late watching, catching up with the game. And boy, it's so much fun. So much fun catching up with a game like that. And it's just, you know what drove me the most crazy about all of this? See, like right now, there's the replay's on again, right? 47-24, right? Guess who's ahead? The Wolves, yeah. And then that number 47 will melt in your mind. It'll melt into the TV screen because it doesn't change. It just stays there because we kept missing and not putting the team away. That's the problem. That's what happened. That's what happened in this game. Just like the other one, was it 83? That number will melt in your that number will melt in your mind for the rest of time, and it'll be plastered on that TV because it just stayed at 83, at 83, at 83, and the 47 right there. There it is, 47. It's just gonna stay. That's what it just was mind numbing. Like, what's wrong with these guys? You can't make a shot. Jaden McDaniels for 3. It's like, what the hell? That hit like the other side of the rim. You can't make a layup. You can't make a 3. You can't get a shot off. 24-second violation. Turnover. Offensive foul. It's got to stop. And Karl Anthony Towns is on the ground crying and complaining every single time he has the ball. Every single time he doesn't score, and even when he does score, he's gonna be flaring his arms up and complaining, hey, where was the foul? Where was the foul? Where was the foul? Where was the foul? It's unprofessional. It's ridiculous. I don't want to use politically incorrect words that start with R, but it was ridiculous. That's another one. It was really dumb. Thank you, fans, for showing up. There's no question about it. Anybody that would complain about the fans is wrong, other than some of you out there are blind supporters of this team no matter what happens, and I don't really care for that either. But again, appreciate them showing up. The team cannot complain about that in any way, shape, or form. Not any way. Chris Finch felt like he got outcoached pretty badly in the last 2 games, Game 2 and Game 3. Again, and the ultimate complaint people will talk about is not a single timeout during the 21-0 run. There was a 15-0 run at the end of the half, and then the 21-point run was like end of the third and into the fourth, of course, where the Wolves managed a lousy 12 points. Just like the second quarter, the Wolves managed a lousy 12 points. Oh, that 47, there it is. The 47's still there. Now it's 28, see? That 47 will melt into your mind because they stopped scoring. That's the sign of a team that can't win a game. That's what that is. You score a couple baskets. You play against just mediocre, halfway decent offense. The game is a blowout. beyond proportions. You're up by 30. You're up by 35. Nobody's coming back from that. Nobody. No matter how terrible you play. No matter their 21-0 run even if that actually happens. But, of course, the 21-0 run doesn't happen if you have some kind of consistency to your offense. You're not going to see the 47 melt into your mind or the 83. It's things like that that are going to put this team golfing and fishing by the end of the series. It's absolutely where it's headed, whether we like it or not. This could be a 5-game series. It could be a 6-game series, but I had the Grizzlies winning in 7. I had a feeling the Wolves would push them to the brink, but then the Grizzlies would finish us off in Game 7. Not because I wanted that to happen, but because that's just how I saw it. And then and all of a sudden I was like, oh man, I might have to, not change it, but like I might be wrong because I can't change it. It's stuck. I'm going to be honest about that. I can't. What was I going with? It just looked that way if things continued to head in the right direction in game number 2. But again, when the score refused to change because what the hell was that, Patrick Beverly? Well, he finally ended that. It's 49. Oh my God, it's 49. Wow. But I know there's another freeze that's coming up too. Yeah, it's coming right up because the 15-0 run hasn't even happened yet. See? So sorry this is on the fly, but that's part of the joy. Or that's not part of the joy, but that's part of the reality of all this happening before your eyes here and your ears as I'm doing this show. The Wolves did go up 12-0 in this game as well. Just massive leads. It felt like $1 million, but those huge leads don't always mean a whole lot. They should, but they don't. It's a game of runs, and then it's a matter of how you respond to the other team's run. And the Timberwolves just did not do that. Karl Anthony Towns attempted 4 shots in the game. He was constantly getting snuffed and all that. There's the same play. I just saw it. That's funny. He was constantly getting snuffed in this game, being forced to pass and everything, but there was no adjustment made whatsoever. And again, that comes back on Finch, that comes back on Karl Anthony Towns, and other leadership on the team. I love Chris Finch. And I was talking about how, wow, look at this. The Wolves have never won a game 1 on the road. Ever. They never had. And I thought there's something really special here. And then this says shades of the San Antonio Spurs series back in 1999 when, I'm pretty sure it was 99, because I know we played them again in 01. It must have been 99. Yeah, we won game 2 in impressive fashion. We hung in there in game 1, but obviously the Spurs pulled away. The Wolves win game 2, and then there's all this hope. Game 3, you come home and you get absolutely blown to smithereens, and somebody threw what looked like basically a full glass of beer, not literally glass, but like the cups, the paper cups, because they're not going to give you glass. They ain't giving you glass, not since the 70s and all that, when referee took a bottle to the face off of the the infamous push off with whatever. I don't even want to go there, but with the Vikings in 75 years ago with the Cowboys. The point is, an entire large, it looked like a tall glass, was chucked very hard, chucked, like hurled, and you just saw fizz like a cloud in the air by a fan. How pissed off they were with how shitty the game went. Pardon my French again. And that's what this kind of turned into. Not really a blowout, but a disappointment. This is shades of the Houston game that I always talk about. Wolves were up by 8 points with 37 seconds left. No, 37 seconds left in the game, and we lost. Did you hear that? Wolves led Golden State that same season. This is like back in like 01, 02. No, not 02. Like 2000, 2001, 99, 2000, one of those years when Larry Hughes was on the Warriors. Wolves led by 20 with like 6 minutes left, and then it was a tie game. Thankfully, the Wolves finished that one off, barely, by the skin of their teeth. They had a huge turn earlier in the season where they were up by 18 and lost by 28. I'll never forget that. That was against that same Warriors team about a month earlier. And that's kind of what this all felt like. It brought back all of those old, awful memories where you had hope. You felt good. And you come home for Game 3 and you're ready to take control of the series. And then everything goes down the bleeper. And it was just, that's what just set me off beyond belief. This Game 3 has taken over the show. Game 1 was fun. Game 2 was crap. But Game 3 is the by far the feature presentation because of what happened and how certain scores, certain numbers on the screen will melt into your brain for the rest of time because it just stayed there. It's like in the Bible when Joshua said, "Sun, stand still," and that God stopped the rotation of the earth for a while. It's really interesting, obviously. Okay, so those of you that obviously read the Bible and are Christian will know that story. We'll know that part of the Bible. It's kind of, that's what it felt like. It's like scores, stand still. That's what Ja Morant said, and then victory was had when they looked like they were going to lose. You know, that kind of thing. That's what it felt like. We could go on. I could go on all day with the different examples and the frustration. Comparisons 20 years ago, because my memory is legendary. I hope you know. I have a great memory when it comes to the past. I have a mediocre memory when it comes to the very recent past, but it's there. But like back in the day, you know, that memory is always going to be there, always going to be in my mind. I was at those games, and you know, that was then. This is now. D'Angelo Russell kind of sort of showed up to play. At least he led the Wolves in scoring. He was the best player in the game, you could say. 9 of 21 is nothing to get excited about, but at least he made 4 of 8 from downtown. But the up and downness of this game drove you nuts. And Karl Anthony Towns getting in foul trouble. We do appreciate the blocked shots. Most of them came earlier. We do appreciate the momentum threes by Jaden McDaniels. You just wish there was more to be had. He only wound up with 8 points. It felt like he was going to have another 15 to 20 point night. Would have helped if Malik Beasley shot a little better, but that's part of that. Let me tell you, that's the name of the game. When the score just melts into your brain and melts into your TV forever, you're going to see that 47 and that 83. Not the 47, but yeah. See, that one was there for a while too. Another Memphis run. But then there's the 15-1 run, where the score just sat there for like 6-7 minutes. It's ridiculous. Drove you nuts. That's the name of the game. You know, because we weren't making our shots. Timberwolves were not making their shots. Naz Reid stunk, 1 of 5. Taurean Prince played 6 minutes and did nothing. He was a minus 18. Okay, he got an assist and a rebound. Thank you. Better than nothing. Greg Monroe played 6 seconds. You don't think Greg Monroe could have been a little bit of a help? Maybe help get somebody else on the other side in foul trouble? You know, I mean, why? So, I don't know. If Karl Anthony Towns is going to whine and play like a baby, why not put Greg Monroe out there for a little bit? Greg Monroe was a lottery pick. I mean, I'm not understanding why Greg Monroe has been buried in the NBA just because he's not a stretch 4, stretch 3, stretch, well, he's stretch 5, whatever. Just because he's not a stretch 5. Does the game have to change that much? You can't like have him post up a little bit. You can't get him out there. I'm not sure. Because he played pretty well in the stretches the Wolves had him earlier in the season. But, I mean, things like that drive me nuts. Heck, if I was the coach of the Timberwolves, I think Greg Monroe would see some minutes. He'd see maybe 12 minutes. What's wrong with 12 minutes? One damn quarter of Greg Monroe. One damn quarter. Maybe 6-minute stretches each in the maybe the early fourth or early second for sure. Maybe some early fourth or late third, whatever the heck, and depending on how Karl Anthony Towns is playing, he might end up playing 30 minutes because of the frickin' foul trouble. Naz Reid, 5 fouls. Karl Anthony Towns, 5 fouls. Jared Vanderbilt, 5 fouls. What is going on here? Why are we so like this? This is the feeling Timberwolves fans that aren't wearing shades, that aren't cheering every single time a Timberwolf makes or misses a shot, that aren't cheering every single time you hear a Wolves name, every single time you see their face on the freaking monitor, every single second, that aren't cheering. And I appreciate that you are cheering, and I'm sure the Wolves appreciate it too. But sometimes you got to take the blinders off for a minute, open up, and just let out your frustration. And this is what I think a lot of people walked out of that arena saying.
They come out quoting Macbeth?
You're stupid.
Well, they're not stupid, they're infants. Okay, they're stupid infants.
Sorry, I had to do it. Classic clip from Timberwolves, from Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze came out in 1991. Shredder, that was upon the, that was when Toka and Razor were first coming out, and he was, like, shocked at how, he was just a little disappointed. So he was expecting Karl Anthony Towns to come out and kick some ass, too, and then that was his response. He was, let's just say he was disappointed a little bit, too. But, well, eventually Toka and Razor kind of sort of helped for a minute or two, but not really. I'm not meaning to be calling Karl Anthony Towns this and that, but he didn't help. He was kind of like a baby out there. Let's just say he was. I think it's safe to say. I'm sorry, it just had to be said. The Lone Wolf Award for these 3 games, I'm going to still give it to Anthony Edwards. For at least, obviously, Game 1 he was fantastic. And generally speaking, I think he's the overall best player on the floor in this series. I think he is the most... There's just something there. There's something there, and he's just getting started. And that's what gives you hope for this franchise going forward. I don't see him pouting and wanting to get traded 5 minutes into his career with Minnesota. So that's the good part. Karl Anthony Towns, there's always that fear that he might pout and want to get traded and wind up with the Lakers or the, God knows who, the Charlotte Hornets or something. Or the Brooklyn Nets might be where he might want to go. Quite possibly. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets, because he was a New Jersey guy growing up, so it is what it is. Speaking of Karl Anthony Towns, are you ready? Back-to-back weeks for number 32. For back-to-back weeks for the guy they were chanting MVP for. And, well, because he had some nice stretches during this season. He was the overall best player during the course of the season, but when the lights shine bright and teams adjust, because you're playing them over and over and over again, and this is the season on the line, you're going for the glory. You're going for the gold here. You're not just playing a basketball game. This is a completely different game, and you're unable to adjust. You're unable to be prepared, ready to go, to have some kind of counter to what the Memphis Grizzlies are bringing to Karl Anthony Towns, where they're literally just gobbling him up and preventing any type of a shot whatsoever from him, where he's forcing passes and forcing plays and getting into foul trouble and all that. Karl Anthony Towns is that guy. He's the Johnny Flynn Memorial. I mean, he was as Johnny Flynn as it got in this game. And you're going to hear that from everybody locally. And it's not just me piling on like an idiot. It's just a fact. There's not a whole lot you can do to get around that. With that said, we're going to continue basically with a playoff preview. So I'm going to kind of keep this as one big segment, and then we'll have a fan interaction segment. There will be some fan interaction, and there should be, doggone it, from people ranting and, well, raving maybe after the first game. That would be great. Yep, the raving was great. It was nice. But I'm going to kind of get into a playoff preview as well, which I should have done. I wanted to do on the last show, and I stupidly didn't. I was like, oh, no, because I was just so emotional enjoying that Clipper game and looking forward to the future of this team. And oh, of course there's still a future to this team. It's just, will Karl Anthony Towns be here? Or will he finally show up? Are we going to want to trade him away at some point? Because if this is the way it's going to be, I mean, Bill Guerin?
Well, that's kind of the thing. That I've got to figure out, like, what's the issue? You know, why have we been falling short? The teams are good. The guys play hard, but there's something rooted here that's not working. And it's not just trading players and, you know, changing the GM and things like that. It's something in the way that we operate every day. It's something in the culture, and we need to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just might end up being a Zach Parise, Ryan Suter type, where obviously he's a big name, big star, and it's not working. It's not working, and that's just reality. I don't see Ant that way. I really don't. I think he's the Kirill Kaprizov, so to speak. I made predictions. I don't know if I actually have. I don't know if they let. I don't know if I can actually view it. I would like to. I'm going to try to view it. Oh, okay. Yes. Good. So I can use this. Good. So these were made before the playoffs started. So that way, I can't just lie to you and then like kind of go do some kind of retro, you know, kind of like jump ahead. Oh, I guess this team's ahead, so I'm changing my pick. So these are my real actual picks. I had Phoenix over the New Orleans Pelicans in 5. It is 1-1, a very impressive game too. Utah in 7. That's 1-1 right now. Phoenix and New Orleans are 1-1. Sorry, I'm starting in the West. Usually I do it the other way. I'll go to the East. I'm an idiot. I had Miami versus the Atlanta Hawks. I'd love to see the Hawks win that series, but I have Miami in 5. I'm kind of mad at myself for the Heat do lead 2-0. I had Philadelphia in 7 versus the Toronto Raptors. Looks like they're up 3-0. Wow, they're up 3-0, aren't they? Dang, I screwed up. I think so. Yeah, they're up 3-0. What happened to Toronto? They were doing so well. They're up 3-0. They'd face the Heat in the next round. I had Milwaukee in 6 versus the Bulls. That one's 1-1. I had Boston in 7 versus the Brooklyn Nets. And I do believe Boston is ahead. Yeah, I think so, but it's not showing it. Boston is ahead. Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I know they won game 1 in very close fashion. Second round would have the Sixers and the Miami Heat. I have Philadelphia in 6. Philadelphia in 6 over Miami, and I think that's a strong possibility. I have Boston beating the Bucks in only 5 games, which might be a little crazy. The world champion Bucks in only 5 games. That leaves Boston and Philadelphia. Classic, super duper 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 old school in the Eastern Conference Final. Boston in 5 games. Boston Celtics are that hot right now. I have them in the NBA Finals. Okay, like I said, Phoenix in 5 over the Pelicans, Utah in 7 over the Dallas Mavericks. That could happen. Both of those series are 1-1. Golden State Schmucks. I hate that team. They're up actually 3-0. I don't know why it's showing 2-0. They won, right? Or was that just game 2? I had the Warriors in 6 over the Nuggets. Like, ugh. I feel like barfing thinking about that. Yeah, it's 3-0. God. Ugh. Hate it. I had Memphis in 7 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, and it's 2-1. Why is this old? Okay, keep going. Phoenix in only 5 games over the Utah Jazz. They go to the West Final. Memphis in 7 over the Golden State Schmucks. And Phoenix in 6 versus the Memphis Grizzlies. It is a rematch of, what year was it? 1976, right? 1976 NBA Finals. Woo-hoo, with Phoenix getting a little revenge. So yes, a rematch of the 1976 NBA Finals. Phoenix Suns' first ever NBA Final, very early in their franchise history, almost 50 years ago. June 5th, 1976, the Boston Celtics finished off the Phoenix Suns. John Havlicek, guys like that. John Havlicek still playing, and great player, obviously. Ended up retiring just as Bird came in. They never quite got to play together. It was like right there. John Havlicek quit in the preseason, basically, and never got to play in regular season games with Larry Bird, but they would have played together. Isn't that crazy? If Bird could go all the way back to John Havlicek, who played in the 60s with that great Celtics dynasty. He was obviously one of the younger players on the 60s team. That's why he was still around for that Celtics championship in 76. That was their last title pre-Bird. And they beat a nice Phoenix Suns team. And, yeah, I mean, that was the first of 3 NBA Finals for the Phoenix Suns, over 3 so far. Obviously, again, lost in 6 games to the Chicago Bulls back in good old 93. I remember that series very well. Very entertaining series. Michael Jordan, though, was averaging like 40 points in that series. It was unbelievable. And then Paxson with 3 to wrap it up. The final shot of his career, NBA Finals clinching 3-pointer. Doesn't get much better than that, does it? In a 3rd ring in a row for John Paxson, along with MJ, Scotty, and the very last championship Horace Grant would win, until he won one much later with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2001, if I remember correctly. A very old and slow Horace Grant at that stage. But that was kind of cool to see him on that team. You got to see A.Z. Green on the Lakers. He won another ring with the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe. Isn't that crazy? See, he's like the Havlicek, how he hung around, but obviously not as good as Havlicek. But yeah, Celtics Suns NBA Finals. That's what I'm seeing. Celtics or Suns in 6 in this case, just like Celtics were in 6 46 years ago. So that's going to be a rematch of that series. Actually, I have Phoenix in 7. I should have had it in 6, but I'll leave it. I'm leaving it right where it is. Phoenix in 7. The Phoenix Suns finally win a championship, 4th time as a charm. Not the 3rd, the 4th. It should have been the 3rd. But the Bucks said nope. They did a great job. Milwaukee did an awesome job, and I was very, very happy for the Greek Freak. Unfortunately, they do not repeat on my my whole prediction thing here. So nice to have a little playoff preview thrown in there. So now you know where I stand. And I'm really glad that I did this little bracket challenge here for the NBA, and that is locked and it's in place. So that way I can't lie to you and like change it or be forgetful magically and all that. So these are my predictions before the series started. So Golden State in 6 is going to be wrong. They're going to probably win in 4 or 5. Memphis could very much make it the Wolves could very much make this a 7-game series still. Very possible. It's just, I don't know. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with Memphis in 7, even though it could very well be less. I'm sticking with it, though. I have no choice. Apologize that my voice is a little funky. I don't know what's up with me in this time of year. It's annoying. It's stupid, but welcome to reality, I guess. Some of you in the springtime don't feel so hot, especially the early stages of spring with the temperature changing and the crap everywhere in the air, and it's windy every day, except for today, I guess. Still not feeling good, though. But yeah, Phoenix Suns are going to finally end the drought, finally. And if they don't, they're never going to win a championship. Not unless the next Michael Jordan suits up for them. They're never going to win if they don't win it this year. Come on. Yeah, if they do win it this year, then it changes history and things can go in the right direction. And that's kind of how the Vikes have been here in Minnesota. So extreme frustration with that. Somebody finally added me on LinkedIn. Like, it was about 2 months ago I tried to add them. That's kind of funny. I just thought I'd share that with you, I guess. Let's take a quick break and get to fan interaction. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment numero dos. Fan interaction, that's probably going to be the theme from here on. It's 2 segment shows, like playoff conversation and fan interaction. And maybe updated predictions, but, you know, because if the series are different, then I got to update the predictions. But my original prediction obviously has Phoenix winning it all. But, you know, if teams are eliminated that I weren't supposed to on my bracket, then I'll update it like, okay, since it's Phoenix and Philadelphia in the finals, you know, okay, Phoenix in 4. No, I'm kidding. I want to watch Philadelphia win. Twitter, at TWolvesEX, at TWolvesEX. But first, I better do this first. I'm going to be forgetful and screw everything up here. Vigit, V-I-G-I-T. It's 2 separate words. It is like basically fantasy betting. It is an app for Android and Apple devices. And I'm sure others as well, but those are obviously Android and Apple's what's out there. Basically fantasy betting. You're not using real money. Social media for sports bettors. You can post about your picks, see what others are saying about games. Vigid betting leagues. A month-long betting competition to see who the best sports bettor is over the course of a month. Free-to-play sportsbook. Bet free coins. Win real prizes. Betting stats. There's great information available on the Vigit Likeline movement where the public is betting, so you can even use it as a cheat sheet a bit, per se, if you're doing real betting. The third quarter is about to start in the replay. That's funny. Crypto.com app for trading cryptocurrencies like Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, of course. Very, very, very tiny percentage fees. It's fun to trade. It's basically, it's trading. It's like trading commodities, kind of, sort of, but it's very easy to do. Just kind of connect with your bank or your check card or something like that. Your check card is more likely where you're going to head. And very, very easy to do. You're not guaranteed to win. You're definitely not guaranteed to lose either. So, I mean, don't come in thinking you're invincible or thinking that I'm telling you that when then you're like, I lost money. You're a lying POS. No, you're not guaranteed to win anything. Just like in the housing market, just like in the stock market. But you can come ahead, and it's fun. It's fun to do as long as you know how to kind of trade this and that. Buy low, sell high. It's very similar to stocks, very similar to everything else. And the best part about cryptocurrency trading is you can do it 24/7, 365. 2 in the morning on Christmas Day, you could trade cryptocurrency. It's not like the stock market where it's, 9 to 3 or whatever, and then housing. I mean, like buying a house, selling houses and stuff where it's during the week. That can be on odd days, but it depends on the realtor and whatever. It depends on you, I guess, and the person you're trying to work with. And that's a headache. I don't want to get into real estate. No, it's too complicated. This is a lot simpler, quite frankly. And you can come way ahead. You can. And I'm ahead. I'm not way ahead, but I'm ahead. So get on board. There's a link in the show description. Simply click on that. It'll show that I referred you. It'll help this show and put $25 in your account to get things started. And in the crypto world, $25 is more than nothing, believe me. It's at least something, right? It's at least something to start with. And you can just put tiny bits and pieces in there. You don't have to put $3,000. You don't have to put $1,000. You don't have to put $500. Easy. Just put bits and pieces. Little bits and pieces here and there. It builds up. And it's not like you pay a $3 fee every time you trade $20. No. It's a percentage, so it's really tiny. Tiny. We're talking like 12 cents if you make small trades. Sure, it goes up if it's a huge amount, but it's not that much. It's not like other brokers out there where you end up losing thousands of dollars unless we're talking like hundreds and hundreds of thousands. And if you're coming way ahead like that, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. And of course, hey, if you're a Laker or a Clipper fan, Crypto.com Arena, it's the one. So there it is. Pardon me, I was coughing there. So thank God for that dump button, so to speak. At TWolvesEX. This was not addressed to me, but I guess in an indirect way, Vinrock Vince Germano of the Courtside Podcast. Can't wait to hear what those guys have to say. Ho, ho, ho. And of course, Wayne Hunt is the host of the show, and he's a Memphis Grizzlies fan, so need I say more? You're going to be hearing a bit from Wayne Hunt on the Facebook page very shortly. Vince Germano and Stu Benson are also with Wayne Hunt on the Courtside Podcast. Highly recommended. Vince says, no signing of the balls again. Patrice Grizz, 4-2. Yep, he says basically Grizzlies in 6, and he's called Patrick Beverly Patrice. So, yep. Let's get the notifications. Vince, you're a hater. No, actually, you're not a hater. Not at all. Not at all. You really think I'm going to defend the Timberwolves? Do you really think I'm going to defend them? No. If people want to unfollow, go ahead. Just go ahead. I'm used to it. Today, Brown and Levi Brown out of New Zealand retweeted the most recent show. Memphis, here we come. Yeah, we came all right. Well, we came in game 1 anyway. Vince Germano out of Australia, and there's 2 more. Derek Felska, Western Wisconsin, and huge supporter of Brave the Wild. Thank you forever, Derek Felska. He writes for his blog is Crease and Assist. He's been doing it for almost 20 years about the Minnesota Wild and hockey. Huge supporter of the Brave the Wild podcast. God bless you, Derek. And then Benzo out of the Bronx, right? Benzo out of the Bronx. Also retweeting the show. Love it. Thank you, Benzo. Today says, yep, this is game 1, so be prepared for, some positivity, not negativity. This game has been awesome. Most of these play-in games have been great. This is a Clipper game. Excuse me. That's the Clipper game. I apologize. Yeah, and I was saying I don't even like the Clippers at all, but I'm glad it's a good game now. Only Los Angeles Clipper I like is Tyrone Lue. The rest of them can stuff it, including their fans. Interesting how that popped up later. I wonder why, but maybe he was watching it as a replay. I was saying this has been an incredible game of runs. As much as a lot of us have despised the play-in tournament, it looks like they won't get rid of it. They're going to be, if they're going to be this good. Okay, so yep, that's the conversation there. So actually the other one was Nick Timas says, I love the play-in. It's more exciting than not having it. And yep, Nick Timas is from Aussie. And the only downside is some team that isn't actually good that potentially missing the playoffs. Okay, so he's basically saying, oh, well, the only real downside is like a 7th or 8th seed might miss the playoffs. They're not that great, blah, blah, blah. So I understand there. I understand the thought there. Yep, and yeah, they're good. It's really definitely dramatic. Saying Anthony Edwards looks amazing. Benzo retweeted that one. Levi Brown said, I couldn't fully watch the game, but what a win. We can absolutely win this series. We seem to match up well with Memphis this year. Yep, and game 1 was wonderful. Marty Grimble. I've definitely seen the name many times. Where is he from? Rugby. Cool. Oh, okay. Yep, that's Australia. Brisbane, just like Brisbane, just like Reese Pedretti, also known as Pumpa. Cool, Brisbane. Marty Grimble says, that one was particularly bad. Weren't we the 4th seed too? So I was ranting about something, and he was, okay. I was saying, this might be random, but I've said it till I'm blue in the face. If I was the Timberwolves owner at the time, Flip and McHale would have been fired after the 2002 playoffs. Getting swept by the Mavericks in the first round would have been the end for me. And yeah, I would have fired them after that. It's not trying to disrespect Flip Saunders or anything. And I don't think anybody's feeling sorry for Kevin McHale either. So, I mean, anybody's feeling sorry for Kevin McHale. But if I was the owner and you're 6 years into making the playoffs, and this is the result, a team that was, crap when you started making the playoffs, and then now 6 whole bleeping years later, you're getting swept by them in the first round, and you haven't gotten past the first round once all that time. Yeah, they both would have to go. I would have fired both of them after that. The crappy part was Flip Saunders basically held Glenn Taylor hostage earlier around that time. I'm visiting the Portland Trailblazers, and they're offering $1 bajillion. So pony up, Glenn. And then Glenn signed him to a huge contract, and that was part of the reason why they didn't make a move. But I think you had to. If you really wanted to move on and get better, I think you had to. Because obviously the Castell Sprewell thing was like, it had the shelf life of sushi, like raw tuna sushi. That's what it had the shelf life of. Might be great for a short time, but yeah, let's not even go there after that. Okay, so Marty Grimmel was responding to what I had to say. So I'm glad that I did that, because, yeah, it's definitely a random thought. Marty Grimmel says, that one was particularly bad. Weren't we the 4th seed, too? I think we were like 5 or 6. But we were the 4th seed with the Lakers, the next year. This is the next year. 4th seed with the Lakers, and they beat us. And then we were number 1 seed versus the number 2 Lakers in the West Finals in 2004. So that's where we actually had home ice advantage. Okay, home court advantage. Just 2 years ever in the history of our franchise, we had home court advantage. So, okay, we'll get back to Marty finally. I apologize, Marty. That one was particularly bad. Weren't we the 4th seed, too? After being the top in the West for a good chunk of the year before Brandon got hurt. That's right. Yeah, we were doing really well. And Chauncey wasn't Mr. Big Shot yet. I remember KG starting the presser with damn. Yep. I think we were like, I don't think we had home court versus Dallas, but it was ridiculous. And I still remember Wally Zerbiak dropping a JC bomb when he was having a casual conversation with Paul Allen and with PA Indubay on KFAN about the 3-point shots made by Dallas during the course of that series, because it was pretty stupid. It was stupid. John Maxon, interesting. Like John Paxson? I was saying, dear Celtics, please go back to your classic uniforms. I'm tired of this crap. Like all these weird, why have black Celtics jerseys? Like, can't you bring back the classics at least sometimes? And John Maxon says, does this include the 80s shorts? Yeah, or nay? And I was thinking, maybe not that part, because they're a little too short. The John Paxson shorts, yep. Yep, I ranted about something. I said, how do you blow a 26-point lead? Golf clubs. Levi Brown responds with 2 12-point quarters. Yep, and I said, bleeping horrible. Yeah, I was just... And then I was saying Memphis had a 15-0 run in the first half, 21-0 run in the second half. Why? Random Hoops, that would be Reese Pedretti, also known as Papa out of Brisbane, Australia, says, I turned the game off in the third. WTF happened. I don't know. We just stopped making shots, and nobody took charge. Nobody took charge. Even Mr. It Factor didn't take charge in that one. But I think Mr. It Factor will be better as soon as next year. I have a lot of faith in Anthony Edwards. I have very little faith in Karl Anthony Towns now. The confidence that I had in Karl Anthony Towns has pretty much been shattered. The way he just literally peed down his leg versus the LA Clippers, and was even worse versus Memphis. Luckily for us, the season isn't over yet, but Lord, it's damn close if we're going to play like that. Today Brown says, no words for that game. Nick Timus says, brutal. I've been really hoping that Cat had turned a corner, and it looked like it, didn't it? But he can still be so annoying. Yes, he can. Extremely annoying. So now we get to the Facebook page. I think I got a response. Yeah. I read it on the last show. Wayne Hunt was saying how it was well deserved for Chris Finch's multi-year extension. Some people might be ticked off about it now, but I'm okay with Chris Finch. At least for now, I certainly am. I mean, it's if we're still struggling to get out of the first round 4 or 5 years from now, adios. You got to move on. People are that would be stupid. Actually, you have to make a change then. I mean, that's where the Wolves blew it. I think last time around. That's where I think owner Glenn Taylor, who's Mr. Ultra Loyal, blew it. He blew it. Too many years went by, and guys are getting older, and we weren't getting better, and we weren't going to get better. That was because of that. You know, when they start getting older, you're not going to get better anymore, like the Rachun Nesteroviches and such. That was Rachun Nesterovic here so damn long. Overrated. He wasn't that good. I'm shocked at how many people liked him. My friend Paul, I used to ask him, I said, what do you think of Rachun Nesterovic? And he just said, he's the worst player. That might be a little harsh, but just a little. Again, apologize if I sound like crap here. Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. So I had posted the new one, Memphis Here We Come, and there he is, Wayne Hunt, out of Sydney, Australia, just like Stu Benson, his co-host, along with Vince Germano out of Melbourne, Australia. Courtside podcast, phenomenal. Stu and Vince are Laker fans. Wayne says it's going to be a great series. And I was saying it's going to be epic, no doubt about it. And Wayne Hunt responded with, absolutely. I just love how you absolutely. I can just imagine him saying that with that voice. Already a lot of trolls online making this personal. Let's just enjoy good playoff basketball. It's going to be tough. It's going to be loud. There's going to be talk, but it's going to be competitive. I thought at the end of Game 1, both teams could have played better. Looking forward to the rest of the series. And yeah, at the end of the Game 1, definitely both teams could have played better. The Wolves were already showing signs of kind of like getting a little too happy with ourselves. And that's kind of the root of the problem here. Like, oh, we'll be fine. Yeah, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't be too happy with yourself. Anthony Edwards, a 36-point first game, which was just beautiful. The most scored by a Wolves player in their first career playoff game. Fourth youngest with 30-plus points in a playoff game. Fourth youngest. So, again, there's something there. Kevin Garnett didn't do that. For all of you Garnett fans that worship him like he's God Almighty, Kevin Garnett didn't do that. And you know, he was a great defensive player, but I'm going to keep saying it. Kevin Garnett didn't do that. And I remember my brother saying that years ago. When I used to compare Garnett to the Magic Johnsons and Michael Jordans, and Magic had that 40-point NBA final game. It was at 42 points. And my brother said, Kevin Garnett didn't do that, did he? In his rookie year especially. He didn't do that, did he? No, he didn't. So it's just a fact. He's not up there with the Magics and such. And I was posting a wonderful memory when I had that crazy Cinderella season last year in the playoffs for basketball. My hockey team's looking like to win it, but basketball, I was in second place and I finished in fifth. So it was kind of a little bit of, where last year I was in fifth place and then won the whole title. It's kind of funny. So let's get to what Wayne Hunt had to say about the recent conversation, if it ever loads. What the hell? Facebook comments. I thought I had this ready to go. I might have to go to the app instead. There's Wayne Hunt. Wayne Hunt said, so quiet. Playoff experience cost Minnie that game, so you can't let a team come back from 26 points at home. Unacceptable. Shout out to my guy, Brandon Clark. Yeah, he played well, and I didn't even talk about them as much. Effort and fight. And, Bane. My God, that guy's big. Woo, that guy's big. Bane's huge. He looked like he could kill somebody with his bare hands. He could kill a tiger with bare hands, man. Well, maybe. Depending on how quick the tiger is. Effort and fight. You got to put teams away. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about with this 47, like, melting in your brain. Right now it's the third quarter. 61-48, Wolves lead. Yeah, put them away. There's Anthony Edwards making the layup. 63-58. 15-point lead. 15-point lead is not insurmountable, but for God's sakes, you're at home. You're supposedly playing well. So blow them out. Blow them out. Finish it off. I don't think Joey Awajan's going to be too happy with that one. Side note, where's D'Lo? He usually drops 30-plus on us through the regular season. Thoughts? Thoughts are, I guess it's not the regular season. And certain guys, they're great in the regular season, and then here come the playoffs, and I guess not. And that would be Karl Anthony Towns. That's for damn sure. I was saying, huge joke. Minnesota sports at its finest. You'll definitely hear a lot of that tomorrow. Wayne Hunt says, what was almost more disappointing was Towns' answer to the media after the game. I hope the name of his wine is called accountability. Yeah, because see what happened was when very well respected John Krasinski, Johnny Crott, he's a really nice guy. Politically, me and him are polar opposites, but what else is new? Everybody out there is polar opposite with me in the media. And he asked Karl Anthony Towns, to comment about he only was able to attempt 4 shots. And Karl Anthony Towns responded with, next question. So that just kind of sums it up. Very childish, very stupid. That was horse crap, man. There's another one. There's another one here. Yeah, see, this is the. I knew I was missing something. I'm sorry for getting out of order here. I apologize, Wayne Hunt. But at least I'm going to get to it. Because I remember years ago, Wayne Hunt was a little ticked off at me because I read something wrong. And yeah, it's just like he's like, you're not even like reading what I'm saying proper. Like I messed it all up. So, and I understood his frustration. So I don't want to do that ever again because it's not good. You know, it's like I was being lazy or something. So I apologize. To Wayne Hunt, though, he says, really felt like the heads started dropping for the Wolves in the last 9 minutes of Game 2. I felt like Game 1 was a good wake-up call for the Grizz, and this is why people shouldn't overreact after a Game 1. Agreed. You can't overreact after a Game 1. It was positive, it's nice, but you got to win 3 more games to win the series. And they're going to be home games, they're going to be away games. There's going to be runs, there's going to be people getting red hot on the other side. Things are going to happen. You're going to start missing shots, you're going to have calls go the wrong way, you're going to have a frustrating game or 2 or 3 or 4, and it is what it is. So yeah, back to what Wayne is saying, I really feel like the Wolves' inexperience might be their downfall in the series, with only Pat Bev and D. Russell playing a major playoff minutes in the past. Yep. Youth-wise, I feel like Mini matches pretty well, and I always look forward to our matchups throughout the regular season because I feel like games can go either way. And it was fun. It was a very polarizing back and forth season between these two teams. Blowout wins on both sides, close wins on both sides, epic performances on both sides. So Cat has to be more aggressive towards JJ. That'd be Jaren Jackson Jr., of course. He has a lot more tools in the shed and needs to get him in early foul trouble. The smaller Tillman gave him a lot of problems today, and us second chance opportunities. Yep. See, that's the thing. And it basically has gone the opposite direction when it comes to Karl Anthony Towns about getting in foul trouble early. He's the one that's been getting in foul trouble early. Loads more thoughts, but these were the ones that stood out for me. Yep, and keep them coming forever. Keep them coming forever, Wayne Hunt. Really appreciate this. I apologize I don't comment more during the week. Sometimes I really should. I really should comment more during the week. Oftentimes I like to save it for the show, but if I comment too, we could, it's just, more conversation back and forth. And if it gets too long, I won't read the entire, back and forth, because that could go on for hours otherwise. But I would read bits and pieces of it. We should totally get together when the series is over. Thoughts? Totally record together. Yeah, I mean, it'd be fun, depending on my schedule, and I hate to say that. I sound like a dork, but it's just in time for spring cleanups, which is annoying. That's the crappy part. As we head into the playoffs, here comes spring cleanups. Oh, goody. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see if we can get something together. We should definitely have a conversation. It'd be an absolute honor to get on Courtside Podcast again, or even have Wayne Hunt as a guest, something like that. Obviously, the time is different, very different with Australia and Minnesota. So there's that. But can usually find a way to work things out. And, it is what it is as we head forward. Tanae Brown, New Zealand, says, I'm very much in favor of the Courtside Explosion collaboration. Yeah, aren't those fun? Please get Vince Germano on, too, to talk about Pat Pep some more. Yes. I just, you could just see the smile on my face. Well, yeah, you can just imagine it. I mean, it would be beautiful. I have no problem if you're going to rip somebody on my team, especially if they make a jerk of themselves. I have no problem with it, or they peed on their leg, as you like to say. Vince Germano says, I'd love to talk about Patrice. You can just imagine the French accent there, right? No, even though he's not French at all. He's Italian-Australian, Italian-Australian. I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. I'm Italian-Australian. Yep, okay, sorry. So, with that said, I believe that's the end of fan interaction. I pray to God that I did not miss anything. And if I did, I am extremely sorry. Oh my God. This is for a while. Hopefully I hope I read this. It's like years ago. See, some of this inbox thing, it's like it gets confusing and lost, but I'm finally figuring out some of that. And some of it shows up better on the phone app versus the actual computer, but I'm kind of figuring out the computer part, which I should be able to. It's just, I don't know, it was kind of weird for a while. You'd go to places and there'd be nothing there, or it'd be something else. And it's like, okay, thanks Facebook or Meta. What the hell is Meta? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It kind of creeps me out sometimes, some of that stuff. It's a little weird. I don't know, but believe that where it needs to be. Final thoughts. I just, I've never been a fan of all the rah-rah crap that Cat has said in the media for years and years about, oh, this and that, we're going to be better and blah, 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 blah. Just shut up and play, Cat. And I think, and I used to get crap for daring to say something kind of like that on Flip's Army. That's why I'm not on that page anymore. I unfollowed and left about a year and a half, 2 years ago now, because of they're just blind. They're blind. Like some of the people, they're good people. They're probably still listening right now, but there's certain people on there I just couldn't take it anymore. Like it's just, how dare I say anything like counter to what Cat's saying, and then counter to what Kevin Garnett says or Kevin Garnett does. How dare I? How dare I? You know what? That's life. That's life, folks. We can't agree on everything. And I don't know, to come on and attack someone like just for no reason, and they all kind of gang up on you like you're just a loser and an idiot, you're not a real fan and all that. It's just that's why you just kind of say, okay, bye. Sorry, I can't be honest about something. It's not like I was blindly ripping Cat or Karl Anthony Towns, whatever you want to call him. I wasn't blindly ripping him. I had a point. Some of the rah-rah cheerleader stuff is dumb. It's pointless. You haven't done a damn thing yet. And you still haven't done a damn thing yet, quite frankly. I'm glad you won the three-point contest. I'm glad you got third-team All-NBA once. I hope you can do it 20 more times. I hope so. Go get it. I hope you're first-team All-NBA. I hope you're the league MVP and we're like a great team. But please, actions speak louder than words. Sorry, they speak louder than words, and they always have, they always will. There's a reason why that phrase exists. And I'm going to end with that thought. And at least the show, the actual main show part with that thought. Please do write a positive rating on Apple Podcast if you could. Major shout out to From Flip to Finch. I like that page better. You don't get your head cut off there, which is nice. From Flip to Finch, Scott Doherty, thank you very much. And always likes to post about the beef and cheddar sandwiches. Yeah, we got beef and cheddars coming today for those of us that like Arby's. So I'll probably exercise that. I'll probably exercise that coupon tonight after work. We'll see. Not that you care very much, but maybe you do a little bit. Please do write a positive rating on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Audible, or a star rating on Spotify. Please do. I'd really appreciate it. Love to hear from you. And please do call into the show if you could. Use any smart device on the planet that has a free voice recorder. They all have free voice recording apps all over the place. Basically, open it, press record, talk. And I'd love to hear from anybody. Please do this. I mean, this is the time of year for it. Please, please, please do it. I would greatly appreciate it. You talk, then you stop it, then save it and share it, /email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. Paladinolive@yahoo.com. I will then convert it into an MP3 file thanks to Zumzar with a Z.com. Want to thank them for the free service they provide, being able to convert that. So I'm more than happy to give them a free plug. Obviously, they would charge if it's a bigger file, and people do that sometimes, so you could get a subscription there. So Zumzar.com, highly recommended. With that said, wishing all of you a great week. We'll see what happens with the cleanups. The release of this show could be sporadic from here on, and it probably will be. The rainy days and Mondays, rainy days and Sundays is more like it. That's just that that's a song. Rainy days and Sundays is more like it for the recording of this show. Saturdays, maybe just random days. Obviously, that's where the rain comes in because of spring cleanups basically starting to take over. Same thing for Brave the Wild. I stupidly didn't mention that on that show, but I'll probably tweet that out since Brave the Wild has a decent following on Twitter. So, with that said, again, have a great week. Go Timberwolves and hope for the best.